Hi, I'm Camille DeSalm, and I've been in and out of pain for about 2.5 months now. And today it was really bad because I ran an errand and I um, ran into a bunch of traffic because a bunch of pedestrians were out enjoying the aftermath of a St. Patrick's Day parade. And so I was in my car too long, and I understood the meaning of stabbing pain. And I'm telling you this because what came out of the extra dose of pain today, because something's going on with my hip. I'm getting an MRI Tuesday. I don't know what it is yet. I think some of it's repetitive stress injury from too much inline skating, and some of it is emotional. So what came out of it today is I went to bed at around 10, and because I had asked my body what it wanted and my hip what it wanted, and it said it wanted rest. And I've been hearing that for about a week. Well, it makes sense. It's tiring more readily because I have lost a lot of sleep in the last 2.5 months. This is unusual for me, this pain in my body not working well. This video isn't just about pain. It's about listening, and letting the question come to you. Now, that may sound funny because most people want the answer to come to them, and of course I do too. But what I have found, and it really hit me hard recently in a great way, is that if I let the question come, the answer is like bang, just right after it, within a matter of minutes. And I'm going to shift around some because I'm still a little physically uncomfortable. So I went to bed wanting to sleep, and I quickly went, well, I'm not sleeping, so okay. And I asked my body again, what does it want? And when I kept hearing rest, I thought, I've been hearing that. I wonder if there's something underneath it. What do you really want? And it kept saying that. And I said, all right, what do you find restful? Because lying here right now isn't restful. It's a little uncomfortable. And all of a sudden the question came. Now this is after a couple months of meditating almost every day. Sometimes I couldn't meditate so well because of the discomfort in my body. I say meditate so well. It's not like there's a meditating well and meditating poorly. It's just I had trouble being still for very long. And attending an entrepreneurial revolution intensive. That was what it's called, entrepreneurial revolution intensive retreat led by Kyle Cease this past week. It just ended on, I have to look at the calendar. I just ended on Sunday. 6-day intensive with a phenomenal group of people, phenomenal staff, and Kyle is a phenomenal, I was going to say presenter. That's not quite right. He's a presenter, of course. He's also a listener and a lover in the sense that he so clearly loves people. And himself. So all this helped me come up with this question. And what popped into my head when I was thinking about rest, well, actually I had quit thinking about it, is all of a sudden I thought, well, okay, if I were to incorporate rest in my work, what would that look like? What would it be? And the first answer that came is, well, maybe I would sit and meditate with clients or with attendees at live events I'm starting to do. As Kyle does. I mean, he incorporates meditation in his events, and sometimes he sits there and just meditates while we do it. And I thought, well, that sounds That sounds restful. I could do that. Plus, I would incorporate meditation in the events I do. So I'm going to back up 3.5 months and say that in December I took a week off from work because I had been grinding for a year, a little over 1.5 years. And by grinding, I mean working a lot and just trying to be productive, and it was not paying off emotionally in terms of work I loved doing. I loved some aspects of it. And it also seriously was not paying off in terms of supporting me because it wasn't providing nearly enough money to support me. It was paying off very, very little financially. And so I stopped because doing it wasn't working, and especially grinding away at it was wearing me down very much. I was very worn down, and I didn't take many days off. The week turned into a month, and I let myself work like 1.5 hours to 2 hours a week through December to force myself to slow down, because I figured if I didn't go cold turkey, I wouldn't do it. Knowing me and how I like to dive into things, that's changed a little bit, the diving in. And then in January, for the first several weeks or maybe 3 weeks or so, I up to about 2 hours a day of work. Really, really different for me. I'm going to shift around again. Really different. And I kept being afraid. The pain in my body and the difficulty walking, some of the difficulty walking started in December, and then the real difficulty started very early in January. Here's what I'm walking with now to help me normalize my gait so that I don't limp so grossly. Thank goodness for, as I said, the MRI on Tuesday to see physically what's going on. I kept being worried. And I had this little note about, how am I going to stay slowish in my work? Because I didn't want to do that almost aimless grinding away again. And I was spinning my wheels at my work. And I have my own businesses, so it's not like I'm going into an office or a corporation and doing 40 hours a week and getting a paycheck. It's different from that when you're an entrepreneur. I'm recording this partly because it just occurred to me, and I wrote my notes on a little Post-it note while lying in bed about how to incorporate rest in my work. This is something I'd been really worried about, and I was going to get, accountability support in staying slow, and that's okay, but of course it's preferable to really just somehow get it. For me, it's preferable to just get it and be that way, and I didn't know how. So once this question occurred to me, it says, and I was going to say, I'm sorry, another thing I knew the difficulty walking and the pain was doing for me was forcing me to be slow, forcing me to slow down. I had wanted to slow down, and boy, my body complied to help me. It really did. I can't move fast. I used to be the little Energizer bunny. I took great pride in that. Really did. So, let's say I incorporate rest into my work. How am I going to do that? What's that going to be? Well, I came up with this one thing about meditating with clients and with attendees at live events. So, life group events, it's not like clients are dead. Some of my clients are dead. I've actually worked with spirits that are no longer in body. That's a little side note. And dogs. And, I don't know, probably cats. And I thought, okay, I only have one answer. I want more than that. Oh, I want more than that. Because I really want to not wear myself down at work, especially. I don't want to wear my body down. I don't want to burn out. I don't want to think I have to rush, produce tangible results. Because you don't always see right away what the results are going to be. And just producing a graphic file or putting a product up on a POD site or listing great keywords. Those are results you can see, or things you can see that you've done. Ticking things off your to-do list. Very satisfying for me still. So I knew other things about how to incorporate rest in my work would come to me. And I thought, well, why don't you just lie down here. You're in bed, just lie down here and just let it come. Maybe it'll be tomorrow, maybe it'll be whatever, drop into your head. Well, it started dropping in pretty quickly. And interesting that I put slow walks with clients and at live events, stopping and enjoying nature. My first live event that I'm going to do, group event, is coming up in September. It's scheduled for early September. This year, right now it's scheduled for September 7, 8, and 9 in Zion National Park. Well, we're not all going to walk at the same pace, those of us attending. We're not all going to hike at the same pace. We're not doing particularly hard hikes, but there are some switchbacks that are challenging. And I think some people are going to be slow. I might be one of the slow people. I don't know how I'll be then, how my body will be then. But I thought there's an opportunity to walk slowly with people and enjoy nature. Sounds pretty restful. I also wrote down waiting calmly for a client or event attendee to access their next step or their question or their answer from source or God or universe. There are so many terms for the infinite, creative, incredible oneness. Yeah. So restful would be me just waiting and breathing and connecting to my own self and to source while they come up with or don't come up with their question or their answer or their next step. Because it may not come to them right then. Another one that came up, this is my question, this one I thought we'll write it down. Quietly crying with a client or event attendee and breathing with them as they cry. Just crying, not necessarily out of sadness or pain, but crying as Kyle Cease says, it's the old story coming out of your eyes. Yeah. Then I started crying. I am so relieved. I'm so relieved that I don't have to do any kind of forcing myself to slow down. That I actually have a little note with ways to incorporate rest into my work. And I think I'm going to love it. Now, I think it's going to take some practice. That's okay. I'm really thankful that my body told me to rest and that I listened for the question underneath that. And that infinite, all-knowing source dropped the question into me. How do I incorporate that into my work? Thank you, Source. Thank you, God. Thank you, Kyle Cease. Thank you to me. Thank you to everyone who's helped me learn. I love you all, and good night.